Hey, this is Wilson with GuestGo.com, and welcome to part 4 of our course where we're teaching restaurants how to save up to 27% margin on their online orders. Now, today we're going to be going over online order notifications, and just as a review of what we've accomplished already, in our previous videos, we actually created most of the website where we have the logo on the top left of the website. We have a menu button here where if a customer clicks on this menu button, they'll see all the menu items and they can add the menu items to the order. There's another payment button here where they can review their order and they can use their credit card to pay for the order, and that information should get sent to the restaurant. All right. So today we're going to make sure that that information gets sent to the restaurant and the confirmations get sent to the customer. So we're working on notifications where customers will receive an email when the order was received by the restaurant. They'll also receive an email when the order is ready for pickup. And just in case they didn't complete their order, they're still on the checkout page and didn't input their credit card information, we're going to send them an email to remind them to complete their order. The very last customer notification we're going to send is after they purchase, we're going to send them an email to remind them to review the menu items that they got. We're also going to send notifications to the restaurant and restaurant staff. The restaurant needs to know what the new order is, what time customers are going to come pick it up, and what menu items are part of the order. So that once they get it, they can enter into the POS system, and then the kitchen can get notified about that order too and start prepping the order. We're also going to send a canceled order notification to the restaurant in case the customer cancels the order or edits the order. All right. So this is the checklist. What we need to accomplish today. The very first thing is we need to improve email sending. Just some context behind this. So we're using WordPress and WooCommerce as our online ordering platform, and the language that they use for their platform is called PHP. PHP isn't really good for email sending, and sometimes when you use that language to send emails across the internet, they get marked as spam. So we're actually going to change the language from PHP to the norm, which is SMTP, and that's the same language that Gmail, Yahoo, and most other popular email clients use. The next thing we're going to do for these emails is we're going to brand these emails so that your logo, your colors, and your fonts are on these emails and easily recognizable by your staff and your customers. Then we're going to send some test emails to your restaurant staff and your customers. In relation to these test emails, we want to make sure that your staff are trained so that when they receive an email, they know to put the contents of the email, the menu items, and the date and time for pickup into the POS system, so that the POS system sends the order to the kitchen and it can get prepped. Also, you want to train your staff so that they know to mark orders as complete and ready for pickup, so that the customers can then get an email that tell them the order is ready for pickup. The last two things we're going to do is send an abandoned cart email, which is when a customer starts their order and is just about to enter their credit card details, but doesn't quite finish their order. We're going to send them an email to remind them to finish their order. And the very last part is if they do complete their order, to send them an email to review the menu items that they tried as part of the order. All right. So we're going to go through all of these today. Don't worry, we're going to go through it step by step, and I'm going to walk through all of these with you click by click. All right. So the very first thing we're going to do is go ahead and go into our WordPress login website. I'm going to go ahead and log in once I get here. And once I'm in, the very first thing we want to do is improve email sending. Okay, so in order to change the language from PHP to SMTP, we're going to extend the functionality of WordPress again by adding a plugin. Okay, so let's hover over plugins and click on Add New. Now, there are a bunch of plugins that can help you do this, but there's one plugin that I'm exceptionally fond of because they give you features that are usually paid features, but is available in this free plugin. All right, and that plugin, what we should search for, is called Post SMTP. Once you search Post SMTP here, you should look for this plugin here. I already have it installed and activated, but you probably don't. So all you need to do is click on Install Now. And once it's installed, go ahead and click on Activate. And once it's done activating, what you can do is go to the very bottom of your left menu right here and hover over Post SMTP. Then you can click on it, and then you're going to go to the settings of this plugin. Now, one of the really cool things I like about this plugin, besides the log that I was just telling you about, is that instead of entering in a bunch of settings and possibly getting confused on what information needs to go in here so that your email sending works correctly, they actually have a wizard that takes you step by step on how to get this configured and how to get your emails sending and received by your customers. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start the wizard here. One of the first things it might ask you is if you had a previous SMTP plugin, it might want to migrate the settings over from that previous one. You probably don't have that, so we're just going to go ahead and skip this step here. And what you should see is this screen right here. Okay, so the very first question it should ask you is, what is your email address and what name do you want to be sending from? All right, so the email address you should be using is the email address that you created when we helped you create your website, and that's usually in your cPanel. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and refresh your memory just in case you don't remember, but this is the email address that I created when I was walking you through that. Also for the name, I'm gonna go ahead and put the business name. Okay, so after you input your email address and your business name here, you can go ahead and click on next. Then it's going to ask you for your outgoing mail server host name, okay? And this is something where you need to go back to your previous settings from either your Gmail or your cPanel and enter in the information here, all right? So what I'm gonna walk you through right now is how to get this information, especially if you went through my previous video where we signed up for A2 hosting and we set up the website through A2 hosting. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to my A2 hosting account here because this site is hosted on my A2 hosting account. I do trust them the most for hosting over SiteGround when it comes to reseller or when it comes to shared hosting accounts or starter WordPress websites. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And once I'm logged in, it's going to show me all the services that I have available with them when I click on this little services box right here. So I'm going to click on services. And then I'm going to go to my WordPress hosting account, which is this one right here. I'm going to click on this manage button over here. And once I click on my manage button, they're going to give me a bunch of information about my server, about where my WordPress website is hosted. And one of the links you need to look for is your cPanel URL. Okay, so go ahead and click on your cPanel URL, and it should take you to either a login portal like this or straight into your cPanel settings, okay? Usually it should take you straight in there. If you don't have it, the username and the password should be the same as your A2 login. If it's not, you can go ahead and just recover your password through the password recovery link, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and log in to this specific website cPanel. Okay, and the one thing I need to look for here is my email settings for that email address, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and type in email in this top search box over here. Then I'm going to click on email accounts. And as you can see here, I do have a couple of emails already created. If you don't have one created yet for your order confirmations, then you should go ahead and do that. And usually I like to make it order@mywebsite.com or orders@mywebsite.com, okay? If you don't know how to do that, I'll walk you through it right now. So we can click on this plus create button to create an email address. It's going to take you through a bunch of different options. The very first one being, what domain do you want your email address to be on? So we actually have a couple of domains on this hosting account. We have the normal domain, which is mrobanyakiusa.com. And then we have a couple of ordering sites, order.mrobanyakiusa.com and orders.mrobanyakiusa.com. Okay. I usually like my email addresses to be hosted on the naked domain, which means there's nothing in front of the domain. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. And for username, you can use order or orders like I suggested, or you can use any username that you'd like. I usually like putting orders. You can go ahead and set your password. And then you can select your storage space. I usually like selecting the higher storage space option here, just so that I don't have to worry about it for a long time, okay? And then once you're done, I already have this email created in my email list already. But since you may not, you can click on this create button right here, and it should create the email for you, all right? Once you've created it, it should take you back to this list of emails right here, and you should see your email pop up in this list. Now, the email that you want to use for your order emails, you would go in that same row and then you would click on connect devices. Okay, so I'm gonna click on connect devices here. And then it's gonna show you a screen with a bunch of information that we need to put into our WordPress website so that this plugin and the email sending is configured correctly. So the first thing it asks for is outgoing mail server hosting. Okay, so when you're in your cPanel and you're in the connect devices area of your email address you want to use, the one box you want to look at is a secure settings box. Okay, you want to make sure you're using secure sending emails and not non-secure sending emails. Okay, so for outgoing server, it's mail.mrobenyaki.usa.com, and then the port is 465. Okay, so just take note of this, and let's go back to our WordPress website. Let's make sure that mail.mrobenyaki.usa.com is in this field, and let's go ahead and click on next. It's going to go through a connectivity test, and it's going to check what servers or what sending servers are available for this email address to send from. And it's going to give me a list of where I want to send from. Okay, so one thing we wanted to take note of here is the SMTP port for this secure sending, which was 465. All right, and so in this list, there's going to be some SMTP options here, and then the port number is going to be at the very end. Okay, so since ours is 465, we're going to go ahead and select this 465 option. Just to give you some context about some of these other services, there are other services that help you send emails, such as Mandrill, SendGrid, and Mailgun. These are separate accounts that we need to sign up for, and we want to try to minimize the amount of softwares that we're signed up for. So we're just going to go ahead and use SMTP, which we already have. All right. So I'm going to click on SMTP and the port number that we see in our cPanel settings, and then I'm going to click on next. Then it's going to ask me for the username, which should be the email address that you have, and the password that you just set when you created the email, or the password that you created a while ago when you first created this email address. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on next here. It's going to give me some other options here. This is nothing you need to worry about. It doesn't really affect how you use this plugin. So I'm going to click on next. And then it's going to say click finish to save these settings. So I'm going to go ahead and click on finish. And once I'm done here, the next thing we want to do is send a test email. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on send a test email in this link right here. And then for the recipient email address, I'm going to go ahead and type in my email here and click on next. It's going to say sending the message, and then when it's done sending, it's going to say success. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into my Gmail right here and see if I got that email. If I did get the email, that means that the email settings for this plugin is configured correctly. And as you can see here at the very top, I did get an email from Postman SMTP test, and this is what you should see in your email inbox as well. If you didn't get this email, then something is configured incorrectly, and you should just go back to the beginning of when I was explaining this and try to go through these steps one more time. Okay, so since I did get the email, I'm going to go ahead and click on finish. And now we know our email sending is set up correctly. The next thing we want to do on our list, on our checklist, after improving our email sending is branding our emails. Okay, so this involves putting our logo on our emails, making sure our colors are consistent in our emails, and making sure that our emails are just recognizable and trustworthy for our customers. All right, so in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and go on the very left. We're going to hover over WooCommerce, and we're going to click on settings. And after we click on settings, we're going to see a bunch of different fields here within WooCommerce. But the one thing we want to focus our attention on here is these tabs, all right? And we want to click on the emails tab. Now, basically, this is going to show you a list of emails that get sent to both your restaurant staff and to the customer, okay? And it'll show you the recipients in this recipient column right here. It'll also show you the topic of the email in this very first email column. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through these emails one by one and configure the settings so that the recipients or these emails get sent to the correct person in your restaurant staff, or get sent to the customer with the correct language. All right. So let's go through these one by one and start with this new order email. As you can see here, I already input some recipients here, but let's go ahead and go into the manage section right here so that you can see where to input your recipients and how to make sure that you can send to multiple recipients, whoever needs to receive this new order email. Okay, so this new order email is going to come to whichever email address you want, but you want it to go to your restaurant staff or some kind of generic email address that your restaurant staff can share and all look into. All right. For an example here, I put 3 of my email addresses listed here. And if you want to send this new order email to multiple of your restaurant staff, whether it be the owner, manager, cashier, kitchen manager, or whoever handles the POS system and entering in orders, then you can put the recipients here, okay? And if you want to put multiple recipients, what you need to do is put the very first email address and then separate them by a comma and a space. Then you put the next email address and then comma and space. And then you can do this for as many email addresses as you'd like. All right. You want to make sure that this email notification is enabled. And then in the next field, we're going to go ahead and put this subject line. Okay. So usually I like to keep this subject line as default. It'll basically tell you the name of the site, which is Mr. Obanyaki, and then tell you that there's a new order. Okay. So you just need to let your restaurant staff know to look out for this specific subject line via email. Okay. Then there's an email heading and additional content. I usually like to leave these by default as well. So the only thing you really need to edit here is just the recipients and making sure that your restaurant staff can receive this new order email whenever a new customer order comes in. All right. After you're done doing that, scroll to the very bottom and click on Save Changes. Once you see this area where it says your settings have been saved, let's go back to the emails tab and let's move forward to the next email. Okay. So the next email is going to be a canceled order, and this is going to be sent to your restaurant staff or any of these recipients when a new order is placed, but then that person cancels the order for whatever reason. Okay. So let's go ahead and click on Manage here. And usually for this, I like to keep all the fields by default, except the recipients. I like to use the same recipients as before. Okay. So one thing I forgot to mention before is that since the recipients for these restaurant staff emails are all basically going to be the same, I usually like to go into the very first email address that we set up. I like to select all the emails that we put in here, and I like to copy the full list. Okay. You can do that by right-clicking and clicking on copy here, or pressing Control-C on your keyboard. Okay. Once you do that, you can go back to the emails. You can go to the next restaurant staff email, click on Manage, and then whatever is here right now, you can delete the whole thing, and then you can right-click and click on Paste out of the options, or you can go ahead and type Control-V on your keyboard to paste all the emails here. Okay. I also like to keep the subject and email heading here by default. So once you've done that and making sure that this is checkmarked, you go to the very bottom and go ahead and click on Save Changes. Once your settings have been saved here, let's go back to the email tab. And then let's go to failed order. Okay. So usually a failed order would happen if a customer accidentally enters the wrong credit card information, or some kind of something was wrong with the order. Usually in the restaurant industry, it would be some kind of a payment issue by the customer. And usually with a failed order, it redirects the customer back to the checkout page where they can just edit their credit card number and resubmit the order. Okay. I've had no issues with this. Every time I see a failed order, I always see the successful order like 5 seconds later. All right. So again, here you want to make sure that this notification is enabled. You want to go ahead and paste the recipients list here. It should still be copied to your clipboard. So go ahead and right click on this field, and then you can click on paste. Or again, you can type Control-V on your keyboard to paste the email addresses here. Then the subject line and email heading, I like to keep the same. Go ahead and scroll down to the bottom and click on Save Changes here. All right, so basically, let's go back to the email tab. And what we just did was we set up all the email sending that goes to your restaurant staff so that whoever needs to know to put in new orders and cancel orders, they know to put it in the POS system. Okay, and those are these first 3 emails. Now, in this next section, all of these emails get sent to the customer based on the order status. Okay, so for example, when orders first come in to your WooCommerce site or to your restaurant online ordering system, they are first, the status that they come in as is processing order. Okay, so let's go into this processing order email and let's see what it says. So right when the customer places the order, they're going to get sent this email where it's a subject of your site title order has been received. and then the email heading is going to be thank you for your order. Okay, so if this language is congruent with your restaurant and you like this language, then you don't need to do anything here, and you can just go ahead and go down and click on save changes down here. Okay, if you want to change the language a little bit and say thank you, instead of thank you for order, thank you for placing your order, right, then you can go ahead and change that. I usually like to leave this by default as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to emails here. All right. The next status that we need to consider is when the order is changed from processing to complete. Okay. And usually that's going to happen when you train your restaurant staff, when your restaurant staff recognizes that the order is ready for pickup. Okay. So it's basically on the counter or behind the counter, boxed up, bagged up, ready to go. All right. So your restaurant staff would recognize that and then change the order from processing to completed, which then will activate this email, which is completed order. All right. So for this completed order section, I'm going to go ahead and click on manage. Okay. And then as you can see here, it says by default, it's going to send an email to your customer saying your site title order is now complete and thanks for shopping with us. Okay. But we don't want it to say this, because what's going to happen here is we want it to email the customer to let them know that their order is ready for pickup. Okay. So for the subject, what we want to do is type in something like your order is now ready for pickup. Okay. And then in the email heading, we can probably say the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this text by highlighting the whole thing. And then you can either right click and click on copy, or you can press Control-C on your keyboard. Okay. Then you can go to this email heading and then press Control-V, or even right click and then click on paste to paste that same text. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go down and click on save changes. And so now when the order is ready for pickup, boxed up, bagged up, ready to go, your restaurant staff recognizes that and changes the order status from processing to completed. Your customer will get an email saying that the order is now ready for pickup. All right. So I'm going to go back to the email list and see if there's anything else we need to edit. So there's this refunded order email. So just in case when your customers does cancel their order and you do refund them the order, you want to make sure this says the correct thing. So this says your order has been refunded, or your order has been partially refunded, and it tells them even your order number has been refunded. So this looks good to me and looks really very relevant to the restaurant industry. So I'm going to go ahead and just go back to emails and leave this by default. Okay. There are some other emails like reset password and new account when the customer does have an account on your ordering website. I like to leave those by default as well. There's this very last one that is payment authentication requested email. And I've never gotten any of these emails in the past, honestly, when it came to the restaurant industry, but I'm going to go ahead and click on manage here, and I'm going to paste my email addresses or restaurant staff email addresses in here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy all these recipients, delete, and then I'm going to paste the restaurant email addresses in here. All right. And then I'm going to scroll down and then click on save changes. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and click on emails and see if there's any other emails we need to change. I believe that there aren't. I think we covered everything here, which is really, really good. And so the next part we need to do is we need to change the branding and the logo of the email. Okay, so in here under email sender options, you may or may not have a default from name and a default from address. Okay, but whether you do or don't, you want to change your default from name to your business address. And you want to change your default from address to the email address that you just created for your order emails and the same email address that you put in the post SMTP plugin. Okay, so that's what I have here, and that's what you should have for your business as well. The next thing you want to do here is change the email template. As you can see here, there is a link where you can click on and it'll help you preview your email template. So if I click on that link here, it's going to take me to what my email template would look like in terms of how this big heading text looks here, what the background is here, and what color the links are here as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and exit this page and basically just walk you step by step what you need to change here so that your email is recognizable, has your colors, and has your logo. Okay, so the very first thing we need to change is the header image, and we should put your logo here. Now, if you remember, we actually put the logo on this website already on the top left of your website. So we're actually going to get that same image and put it into this header image here. In order to do that, we're going to go to this left menu here. we're gonna hover over this media section, go to library, right click on library, and open that link in a new tab. I always like to put open new links in new tabs so that I never lose my previous place. And then in this media library, I'm gonna go ahead and go to my logo. It looks like I have two versions of it here, so I'm gonna just go ahead and go to the latest version. I'm gonna go to this file URL and I'm gonna copy this whole file URL. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on copy. Then I'm gonna go to WooCommerce settings and I'm gonna go to the header image and I'm gonna go ahead and paste the image right there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and click on save changes. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on preview my email template again. And as you can see here, the one big difference is that I do have my logo here. And one thing I want you to realize here is that the image will actually scale to size, meaning that if they're on desktop, it is going to be this big image and they're going to see all the contents of their order right here. But if they're on mobile, then it's going to go ahead and shrink along with the email. Okay, so if they see this on their tablet or on their phone, it's going to be flush and to size with the rest of the email content. All right. The next thing is the footer text, and you may or may not have footer text here. Usually by default, it's like the name of your website, like Mr. Obanyaki, and then it'll say like copyright. And it might say built with WooCommerce as well. And so what I usually like to do is just leave everything by default, but I like to delete the built by WooCommerce because I want this branded as my site only. And I don't want people to know that I built it on top of something else. It also just focuses attention on my brand. All right. The very last thing you need to change here is just the base color of the email. Okay. And so this base color, when we go back to our preview template, is going to be the same color as this, as the background of this heading here and as the links here. All right. One thing that I didn't do in my previous email is show you how to get the colors from your logo and apply it to the rest of your website. So I'm going to go ahead and help you do that right now. All right. In the description below, I'm going to put a link to a Chrome plugin. So if you're using Google Chrome, you can use the same plugin that I use as well. And when you install that plugin, it's called Color Pick Eyedropper. What you can do is go to your extensions, click on this tool, and what's going to happen is this little crosshair is going to appear over your mouse. Okay, and so basically what it does is whatever you hover over with this crosshair, it's going to go ahead and pull the data from that color. Okay, so if I get this purple from my logo, it's going to go ahead and give me some codes that when I put this code into somewhere, it's going to output this same color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this code here by either right-clicking and clicking on copy, or selecting the whole thing and then pressing Control-C on my keyboard. Okay, then I'm going to go into the WooCommerce settings, and then for this base color, I'm going to go ahead and paste that base color here. Sorry, I think I copied the wrong thing, so let me go back and get it. Copy, and then go here and then paste. Okay. So that is it right there. You want to make sure you have a hashtag in front of it or a number sign in front of it. And then you want to go ahead and click on Save Changes. And once you click on Save Changes there, you can click on Preview Your Email Template. And this color should be the same color as whatever color you pulled from your logo now. Okay. So now this is what your email is going to look like. It's going to have your logo, and it's going to have your colors from your logo so that it looks like one consistently branded email. All right, so that's all you need to do to brand your emails right now. And the next thing we want to do is test these emails. We want to go ahead and place a sample order on your website and see where emails get routed to and what kind of content are in these emails. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the website and place a test email. You can do that by going to your WordPress dashboard. On this very top left here, you can see like a home symbol with the name of your website next to it. And then when you hover over it, some options are going to come where you can see visit site. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and right click and open this visit site in a new tab. And it's going to take me to the website. All right. As you can see here, there are 0 items in my cart. So I'm going to go ahead and select some options from the menu we created in the previous lesson and add some of these items to the order. Okay. Once I add this to the order, I can go back to C menu. And then I can select options for this other one and go ahead and add this to order as well. And now you can see on the top right here that I have 2 items in my order, the 2 that I just created or that I just added to my order. All right, we set up these pickup options in our previous video as well. And so I'm gonna go ahead and click pickup date along with the pickup time. And then here I can see the pickup location as well. It already has my billing details, my first name, last name, phone number, and email address here. I can also review my order. We also set this up in the previous email. And once all is said and done, I can go ahead and click on place order down here, okay? One thing you need to recognize here is that I do have cash on delivery as a payment option here. You may or may not have this. You may only have Stripe with a test credit card number. And so if you do have that, you can go ahead and enter your test credit card number and click on place order. If you don't have cash on delivery, I'm going to show you how to do that right now. You can go back to your WooCommerce orders tab, and then you can go back to the very top of this page and then click on payments. When you click on payments, there's going to be a bunch of options here, one of them being cash on delivery. You just want to make sure that this is ticked purple so that it's enabled. Okay. Once you do that, you can go back to your checkout page and just refresh your checkout page. You can enter in your pickup date and time one more time. Make sure all your information is correct here. And then you should see cash on delivery as an option here. It should also have a radio button so that you can switch between cash on delivery or your Stripe checkout. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click on place order here. And then I can see my order confirmation. And what I should see now is if I go into my email, it's going to go ahead and send me a new order email. And this is exactly what your restaurant staff is going to see. They're going to see the logo, they're going to see the new order, and they're going to see the contents of what the person ordered. They can also see the date and time of when what the person set, so that they can put it in the POS system in a timely manner. All right. So this is what your staff would receive when a new order comes in. I also want to show you what it's going to look like when the customer gets the email. Okay, so here's my other email inbox right here. I'm going to go ahead and drag it over to the screen, and this says, this shows the customer, thank you for your order. Here's what you ordered, and then this is the date and time that you selected for your order. Okay, so this looks really good. The logo is recognizable by your customer because it was on your website, and the colors look consistent with the email as well. All right, so these two emails look really, really good. And since we saw what those emails look like and the test turned out really well, let's move on to the next step. All right. So the next step, we want to make sure your staff can recognize the new order emails. They can enter it into the POS system. And when the order is ready from the kitchen, that they can change the order status from processing to complete, which at that point, the customer will receive another email saying that the order is ready for pickup. So in order to change the order status from processing to complete, go into your WordPress dashboard and then hover over WooCommerce and click on orders. Here you can see a couple of the orders that we just tested. And so I'm going to go into one of these orders by clicking on the order number and the name of the person who ordered. And when you're in this little dashboard right here, one of these drop downs you can see is status, which says processing. Like I was saying before, the default status when a customer places an order is processing. And in order to change it to completed, you click on this processing text and a drop down will come up, and you just need to change it to completed. Once you change it to completed, it's not updated just yet. You need to go ahead and go on the right of the screen right here and click on update. And once this is updated, like I said, the customer is going to receive another email telling them that the order is ready for pickup. So I'm going to go into my email inbox and show you what this looks like. I just got it in my email inbox, and it says right here, your order is now ready for pickup. This is your order. We have finished processing your order, and that's it. Okay, so this looks really good as well. So all you need to do is let your restaurant staff know to put new orders in the POS system. Give it to the kitchen, whether it be automatic from the POS or manually through writing and giving it to the kitchen. And also telling them to change the status of the order from processing to completed when the order is ready for pickup, when it's boxed, bagged, and ready to go. All right. The next thing we want to do is set up abandoned cart emails. Okay, this is a very powerful feature where if someone is on the checkout page, so I'm going to go ahead and add some items to this menu to the order first to show you what this looks like. Okay, they add this burger to the order. They go to checkout. They enter in all their information, pickup date, time, and everything. And let's say, for example, someone rings the doorbell, right? And they forget to complete their order. What we can do is we can set a specific time where if they're idle on this page for that specific amount of time, or if they close this window and they're gone from the window for a specific amount of time, then we're going to go ahead and send them an email to remind them to complete their order. Okay. So in order to do this, we're going to go ahead and extend the functionality of our WordPress WooCommerce store again, and we're going to add a plugin. And again, there are a lot of plugins that do this, but the one that I trust the most is called Autonomy. And as you can see here, 5 stars, 2,000 plus active installations. The free version of this is really, really good. And the reason why I choose this plugin over all the other abandoned cart plugins is because most other abandoned cart plugins, they can only capture the email address of the person after they submit their email somehow, okay? But this plugin can actually capture the email address of someone once it's just in the field. They don't need to click a submit button. If the customer types in their email address in that field, then this plugin automatically captures it, and it gives you a higher rate of sending that abandoned cart email. All right. So search for Autonomy. Once you get here and see this plugin, go ahead and click on Install Now. Once it's done installing, we're going to click on Activate, and then we're going to go through the settings and make sure that the emails, again, are the language that we wanted to say and branded the way we want it to be branded. Okay. Once you activate the plugin, activate and install the plugin, you're going to be sent to this automations setting part right here. And if you can see in this list of automations, they already have 2 automations made for you by default. Let's go through these and see if these automations and emails are a good fit for your business. All right. So let's go into automation 2, which is cart recovery. And from what I remember, by default, they just send this email to you as the WordPress, as the site owner or site administrator, letting you know when an order was recovered. Okay. So the way this plugin works, as you can see here, is kind of like a timeline based on triggers. Okay. So this basically says start when a cart was recovered. Okay. And they define cart recovered as if you sent an abandoned cart email, they click on the link within the email, and then they finish their purchase from that link. Okay. So once that happens, basically they're saying trigger this automation. And then what we want to do is send an email to the admin of the site, which is, your restaurant staff, you, the restaurant owner, or the restaurant manager, saying Autonomy has successfully recovered an abandoned cart for you. I like to leave this by default and how it is right now, just because it's something that happens on the administration side and it's not customer facing. Also, I do want to be notified when orders are recovered, just so I know that this plugin is working for me and getting me more sales. All right. Let's go into this next automation right here, which is cart abandonment number 1. And again, you can see the same timeline here. This starts when a cart is abandoned. And what happens when a cart is abandoned is that this happens to the user or for us administrators. Okay. This cart abandoned can be defined in the settings of this plugin, and I'm going to go through the settings with you a little bit later. So again, we're just going to go here after cart abandoned. This is what happens. WordPress goes and sends the email to the email address in the checkout page. Okay, this is captured by the plugin already. And then this is what the content of the email is going to be. It's going to be subject line, can we help? Hey, first name. I noticed that you were trying to purchase these items. It's actually going to get the items that were in their cart and list the items right here. Really, really cool stuff. But you couldn't complete the process. Don't worry. We saved your cart for you. Click here to complete your purchase. And this link is going to take them back to that checkout page, wherever I had it here, with the items that they had previously, so that all they need to do is just input their pickup date and time one more time, and input their credit card information so they can complete the order. All right. One thing that this plugin does by default is they like to do follow-up emails even after that. And they like to give incentive by creating a coupon for the customer to push them towards completing their order. All right. It's up to you if you want to do this or not. I would actually delete these emails for now, because I don't want to give discounts just to let someone complete their order. So I'm going to click on the setting buttons and just click on delete. I'm going to go ahead and remove this action. I'm going to do the following ones too, because that first one we just deleted was creating this coupon. And the following option right here is giving the coupon to the customer via a link right here. So I'm going to delete this email. I'm going to delete this next email as well. And so basically all we're left with is just one follow-up email after the cart is abandoned, which reminds the customer to finish the order. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on save right here. Okay. I'm going to exit out of this builder. And the next thing we want to go to is the settings, where we defined what a cart abandonment is. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on this settings tab. And then here it says enable cart tracking. Enable it to live capture buyer's email and cart details. This is exactly what I was talking about. This plugin helps you capture whatever's in the email field without the user submitting anything, and the details of the cart without them submitting anything either. All right. You can set the wait period here. All right. So you can set it to however many minutes, whether it be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or 1 hour. The default is 15 minutes. I like to leave it how this is. If your business is a little bit different and you know that customers need to be reminded earlier about their abandoned cart, then you can go ahead and change this to 5. If you want to be a little bit more patient with the customer and give them time to complete their order, you can set it to 60, which is 1 hour. Again, I like leaving it on default, which is 15. Okay. I can go ahead and see what these other options are. Cart tracking notice, inform customers when entering their email address. I'll leave this unchecked. Track abandoned cart actions when a product is added to the cart for logged in users. I'm going to go ahead and leave this checked. I'm going to leave all of these other ones actually as default, and go ahead and click on save settings here. All right. The next thing we want to do is test these automations, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to automations. Actually, I'm going to go to carts right here. Okay. I'm going to go to recoverable carts. Okay. And this list is a list of people that abandoned the cart and are in the queue to be sent an abandoned cart email. Okay. And the people on this list are people that got to your checkout page, entered their name and email address, but didn't complete the order. They either exited the page or they're too idle on the page. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and try to start an order right now. I'm going to go to right click on visit site. I'm going to add some items to the order. I'm going to go to this checkout page. I'm going to make sure my name and email address are in here. I'm going to go to the bottom and pretend like I'm a customer. And then I'm going to go ahead and exit this page. All right. Then I'm going to go back to the automation section. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. And then you can see here that my email address, my phone number, my name, everything in my order got saved just because I exited the site. Okay. So this is a very powerful plugin that captures information for abandoned carts. And so what happens here is that when you see this email here, you can also see here in task history, in this task history tab, that the email will be scheduled, okay? And it will be scheduled 15 minutes later, all right? So we're gonna come back here in 15 minutes and we're gonna go ahead and send this test email so that you know what it looks like, all right? While we're waiting for that, we're gonna go ahead and go to our task list and go to the next step, which is configure post-purchase reviews, all right? So post-purchase reviews is when someone purchases a food or menu item from your website, and then after they're done with their purchase, however many days later, they're going to get an email reminding them to review that product, so that on your website, I'm going to go back to your website, or to my website that we built together. On here, there's going to be a little there's going to be star icons with ratings and reviews here. Okay. Then when other people visit your website, they can see how other people liked this specific menu item. All right. So let's go ahead and set that up. We're going to come back to this automations piece later on. All right. So in order to set up the customer reviews part, let's go ahead and click on or hover over this plugins section. Click on add new. And we're going to search for a plugin called customer reviews. And as always, there are a bunch of plugins that handle this for you. But this one specific plugin I like because not only do they handle the review email reminders for you, but also they have a form where it splits up the reviews per product that the customer ordered, and each review gets routed to the product page per review. Okay, whereas a lot of these other customer review plugins, they just get one review from the customer and they don't get routed to each item. Okay, it maybe gets routed to one item, or it gets routed, or it gets attached to the store as a star rating for the total store. Okay, but what we want is the review for each specific menu item. Okay, so that's this plugin right here called Customer Reviews for WooCommerce, and it's by Customer Reviews. We're gonna go ahead and install this plugin. And then once it's done installing, we're gonna click on Activate. And once we activate, I believe we're gonna be sent straight to the settings area. Okay, so we didn't get redirected to the settings area, but on the very left, you can see this new option called Reviews. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on Reviews here. And when I click on here, there's gonna be a menu that shows you all the reviews from all of your customers. But what we wanna do is actually set up the settings for this. So let's go ahead and click on Settings under this Reviews area and go through these settings with you. Okay, so the very first option is to enable automatic reminders. Okay, so we wanna make sure that this is checked because we do wanna send emails to the customer to remind them to review all the menu items that they ordered from your restaurant or from your food service business. All right. Next thing you want to do is set the sending delay. So again, this by default is 5, but if you think that you want to send these review reminders earlier because it fits your business that way, then you can change this to even 1 or 3. If you think your customers need more time to sit and think about your product before they give a more accurate review, they can even change this to 7 or 10. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just leave this as 5. For order status, we're only gonna send these emails when order statuses are set as completed. The two options here are processing or completed, and the reason why we don't want it as processing is because if you remember, when customers first order, the order status is automatically set to processing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they got their order and they ate and they experienced our restaurant. It just means that they placed the order, and some things that can happen in between is they can cancel the order or the order can be refunded. Okay. The status that we want to set this as is completed, because completed means that, as we mentioned before, your restaurant staff realized or recognized that the order was bagged up, boxed up, ready to go, and your customer actually came and picked up the order. Okay, so we're going to leave this as completed. You can enable for specific product categories. I leave this as all product categories because I want to send a review reminder no matter what they order. If for your business you want to restrict certain items or certain categories for your reviews, you can go ahead and do that here. I usually leave this for all roles, enable for guests. I leave all of these things by default usually. One thing you can do here is enable manual reminders. So we do have a sending delay of 5 days here, but if you enable this checkbox, then you can override the 5 days. And if you want to send the email review reminder earlier for specific customers, you can go ahead and do that by checking this checkbox here. Let's go down to this shop name here. You want to make this consistent with the shop name that you put for all of your other emails, which is the name of your restaurant or food service business. And then for reply to address, you want to use the same email address that you created for your order emails. For the notifications, I usually like to put myself and the food service business. Again, you should put this notification as any of your restaurant staff that needs to know about reviews. Usually it's your customer service people within the restaurant, your manager or the owner. And then down here, there's the email subject line, email heading, and email body. You can review this stuff to see if you want to change the language for your restaurant. I usually think that the default is good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and skip that. Here you can change your email color. Okay, so this again is referencing back to your email template right here that we created before. Except now we need to get the same color and put it into this email color number 1. Okay, so if you remember, you can go back to this email template, go to your logo, click on this color pick eyedropper. Hover over the purple, click on it, copy this hex code right here by selecting it and then pressing Control-C on your keyboard or right-clicking and clicking on copy. Then go to this email color and then you can, there should be, oh, here we go. You can paste the hex code there, okay? So that should be the email color there. This is for the colors for the email, okay? And so what happens is within the email, there's also going to be a link that says review us, and it's going to take them to a form, which is kind of like a website. And this website is going to ask them a bunch of things like how do we do the questions, and there are some settings that we can set here for the form within the website, okay? So the very first option here is a shop rating, okay? So it's going to be kind of like an overall rating for your restaurant. It's going to be separate from each rating for each menu item. I usually like to enable this so that they give you an overall rating and then a rating for each of your menu items as well. Then you can see why they gave you this overall rating based on the individual menu item reviews. You can make the comment required, which I usually like to do because I don't like to just receive a star rating. I like to receive a comment with that star rating so that I know what customers liked or didn't like about our business or our menu items. I do want to let them attach media, which means they can attach their own pictures of their own order to the menu, to the review. And then all this other stuff you can change as well. You can change the form color if you want to be like the same purple as before. So I can change that to purple and purple. You can probably make this form color number 3 a little bit darker so that there's some distortion between these. And then once you're done setting these colors, you can go ahead and click on Save Changes. All right. And in order to see what this review reminder email looks like, we're actually going to go to WooCommerce. And since we know that the reviews will only get sent to order statuses that are marked as completed, we're going to set one of our orders to completed. So let's go to this order, for example, the one that's in processing already. And let's go ahead and change the status from processing to completed. Okay. And then once I do that, I click on update over here on the right. And we should see that this email with this item and this email address is now in the queue for the customer reviews email. All right. So let's go ahead and go to the reviews area again. And then let's click on reminders. Here you can see that that same order that I just put right here has a scheduled email of November 8th, which is 7 days from now. And I can go ahead and send it now if I want to, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and click on send now so I can show you what this email looks like and we can test both of our emails together. Then I'm gonna go into my email inbox and then you can see here that I got an email, Mr. Obanyaki via CR, and it says review your experience with us. Okay, so let's go into this email and see what it looks like. So the first thing to notice in this email is that it is the purple color that we sent for this email, that we set for this email. And then it says, thank you for shopping with us. We would love if you could help us and other customers by reviewing the products, okay, for this specific order number. So if I click on review, like I said, it's going to take us to another website that's going to ask how did we do, and then it's going to take us through a rating for our shop and a rating for our items, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on 5 here, and the comment is like quick service and smiling staff. Okay, for example. And then for this specific item, it's going to ask me to do a different rating for this item. And so if I love this menu item and I say something like bun was soft on the inside but crunchy on the outside, ice cream was unique and delicious, and give it 5 stars, then I can do that too. All right. And then I can go ahead and choose my display name as my full name, first name, last initial, first name only, or anonymous. I usually like to choose first name, last initial, and I can go ahead and click on submit here. Now, once I submit this is really cool technology by this plugin. You go back to your settings, and then let's go ahead and click under reviews, click on reviews. And then it's going to tell me the reviews that came in. Now you can see that 2 different reviews came in. One was for the shop and one was for the product. Okay, so I get 2 different reviews for this one order, which is really, really cool. So if I want to see this review, I can go to view product here. I'm going to right click on it, click on open link in new tab. And I can see now there's one customer review. And then it is the review that I just left. So it's really cool that this plugin can send the customer a form for you and import the review from that form into your store for you. So that's how you set up your customer reviews and post-purchase reviews. the last thing we need to do is we need to go back to our abandoned cart area and see if that abandoned cart email got sent. Okay, so let's go hover over WooCommerce and click on carts. And you can see here that, oh, actually I abandoned the email 14 minutes and 25 seconds ago. So actually, if you remember, my settings were actually set to 15 minutes for the wait period. So I just need to wait, I'd say 30 more seconds for this email to be sent. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause this video for now, wait a couple of seconds, and I'll replay this video when the email comes in about a couple of seconds. And now you can see here, I actually placed my order 16 minutes ago now. So if I go into this task history tab over here, I can see that the email is about to be sent. And I can go ahead and send it now by clicking on Run Now so that we can see a live version of the email. So it says task executed, and I should go ahead and check my email. I'm gonna go into my email inbox here, and here you can see the email came in. It's the Can We Help email that we saw before, and it says, Hi Wilson, which is my first name. I noticed that you were trying to purchase the following items, and it has all the items in my cart. And it says, click here to complete your purchase. So I can actually go in. I can see the purchase I was trying to make. I'm gonna go ahead and set my date and time. I'm gonna leave myself a $348 tip, and I'm gonna go ahead and place the order. Now, once I place the order, I should all the emails should be sending out to both your restaurant staff and the customer. And in here, in the automations, we should also see that the cart was recovered. So we should get another email saying that our cart was recovered. And here you can see on the screen that recovered carts is now 1 because that cart was recovered. You can also see in our email inbox that we got an email about the user cart that was successfully recovered. Go back to our inbox. We have the new order email that goes to restaurant staff so that they can put it in the POS system. And then we have the order received email that goes to the customer, tells them what they ordered, the tip, tax, total, and everything like that. All right. And I just want to run through this one more time. We can go to the order by hovering over WooCommerce and clicking on orders. And now let's test the review email one more time, just so that you know the exact flow of all the notifications. So I'm going to click on the order that we just placed, and then I'm going to change the status from processing to completed, then click on update. Once it's done updating, I'm going to go to the pending emails for the customer reviews plugin, and I'm going to go ahead and send that email. Then when it's updated to completed, I'm going to go to my email and make sure that I got the order is ready for pickup email. And there it is right there. So lastly, we're going to go ahead and send that review email. So let's go into our review plugin and go to the reminders section. Then we can see that same order number is right here, 354. And it's scheduled to be 7 days later, but I'm going to go ahead and send it now. Then I'm going to go into my email inbox and look for it here. You can see here that it says that the review email is right here. And here's the email that we have. If we click on review, just like before, we're going to be presented with the form. I'm going to go ahead and give 5 stars. Awesome. 5 stars. Lovely. 5 stars. Delicious right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and submit as first name with last initial. When I submit it, I'm going to go back into here and under reviews, click on reviews. Then I can see all the different reviews here. I got one for this product and another one for this product over here. I opened both of these in new tabs so that you can see now there's 2 customer reviews here for this product. And there's another customer review here. All right. So let's go back to our checklist and see that we did everything. So we did improve email sending by changing the email sending language from PHP to SMTP. We branded your emails by putting your logo and your colors. We sent test emails to both your restaurant staff and your customers for every order status that we have. We taught you how to mark orders as complete so that customers get another email saying that the order is ready for pickup. And lastly, we did the abandoned cart emails along with the post-purchase review emails. All right. So that's it for this lesson. We send all the notifications that we can to your restaurant operations team, owners, managers, cashiers, and kitchen managers, as well as customers. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to get into online order tracking. I'm going to show you how to track all the traffic that comes onto your websites, what part of that traffic results in people adding products to the cart, which of those people actually check out, how much money you made over what period of time, and also how to send yourself reports every single day or week so that you know how this website and online ordering site is adding to your bottom line. All right. So I'll see you in the next video.